Hello? Hello? Wow, this is a really dark screen. It's kind of calming in some ways, but to many people, it's like what life is nowadays: dark, dismal, depressing, void of happiness. I mean, think about
Hello?
it. The last few months, we have experienced so much. We started doing this, we moved to this, and now we're thinking about doing this. In the last few months, it seems our world has been turning faster than ever. With the constant news and spread of COVID-19, the months of protesting for racial justice, the political pressure of an election year, and landmark rulings like those protecting the LGBTQ community. The amount of information and events we have witnessed in such a short period of time would have been a lifetime worth of events for any of our ancestors. I mean, even outside, people look different. And speaking of masks, there's a lot of cool ones out there when it comes down to it. Some people even got invented and made up their own. Others got kind of lazy and used whatever was around the house. When you think about it, there are some companies that are doing all right during this whole time. And who would have really thought that something like this was going to be worth so much? We have all lived in kind of a virtual world these last couple of months where these videos are commonplace and they eerily remind us of something else, at least for some of us. I mean, it's kind of crazy trying to get in and out of the meetings and challenging. And sometimes we have some epic fails, from forgetting to turn on the mic when we talk, to being distracted by what's in the background of someone else's house, or by having an unwanted guest walk into the video. Hey, watch the door! Oh, it's going to leave a mark on his face and his soul. You know, in reality, much of what we're going through, it's just plain overwhelming. The way we do things in the world now seems to change almost daily. Sometimes we just need to use some simple strategies that will help us in the most unexpected ways. Do you know Mr. Rogers? Well, if you don't, maybe you saw a movie recently with Tom Hanks, who was playing Mr. Rogers, and he does this great activity I want you to do right now. Now, this activity is going to seem kind of long and awkward, but if you can stay engaged with what he's asking you to do, I guarantee you're going to get something good out of it.
Would you do something with me, Lloyd? It's an exercise I like to do sometimes. We'll just take a minute and think about all the people who loved us into being.
I can't do that.
They will come to you. Just 1 minute of silence. Thank you for doing that with me. I feel so much better.
These last few months have been challenging. Yeah, I know you probably have some other words that would better describe it. But we have experienced and seen a lot. And maybe this brief reflection that we had was enough for us to see that, you know what, things aren't really all that bad. They're just different. Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming tonight to our presentation on SEL. I'm here with Gary Heilers, as you can see, and we're going to be talking and giving some examples of SEL and how you could bring it into the physical education and health room setting, and why you would want to do that. It's a very big topic. We're seeing more and more schools that are realizing this is something that we really should be doing, especially this time of year in the pandemic and the things that we are in right now. So, to introduce myself, my name is Bill Casey. I am a department chair at Naperville Central, or I'm sorry, at Neuqua Valley High School, and I've been teaching now. I'm in my 28th year. So, to introduce myself, my name is Bill Casey. I am Gary? A department chair at
Yes, I'm Gary Heilers. I've been teaching for 27 years, close to Bill as well. I am currently at Glenbar North High School, and I'm the department chair for the last 15 years for PE, health, and driver ed.
All right, so a lot of what we're going to be doing and going over really comes from the CASEL model, and I'm not going to go into the CASEL model. You can find this anywhere and everywhere. If you start something for your school, it's most likely going to come as a result of the CASEL model. It's a wonderful thing. Being a circle, when you are going to look at what your school's needs are, you're going to go through your home, your community, your school, your students, your staff, before you actually get to what your needs truly are for whatever your environment is, whether it be something in self-management or on the other side in self-awareness. Again, you can find this almost anywhere, and I advise you, go ahead and look for it. But I'm going to talk specifically what I'm kind of doing and give you some ideas. I started with Health Moves Minds a couple years ago. I've actually run the program twice at the high school level. And even though I'm saying high school, the lessons, I think when you see them, I think you'll be able to see them be able to apply at both the elementary and the middle school as well. And I hope that you do. I did tailor the lessons from being face-to-face as to now being remote or hybrid. So hopefully they'll be useful to you, and you will have links to pretty much anything and everything we're talking about by the end of this stream. But like I was saying, Health Moves Minds was where we kind of got started. That's where we really started incorporating different types of social-emotional learning skills into our classrooms, and we started in physical education and health. Now, why did we do this? Well, these numbers are current numbers that you're seeing up on your screen. There's obviously some mental health issues that we saw happening within our local area. Our hospitalizations at Neuqua Valley High School climbed up. We got a little dip down, but then they're going back up again. In our entire district in 204, we saw more and more students having to go to one of our local facilities for hospitalizations. So things in the district are obviously getting higher and higher. And when I talk to people all over the nation, this is happening everywhere. Whether it be it's not just simple stress. A lot of times it's people getting to the point where they just can't function anymore, they can't do anymore, they can't make the decisions and do the things that they want to do and live the life that they want to live. And there's a lot of warning signs we could see, a lot of things we could do to advocate for kids, advocate for each other, so that we could prevent anybody from getting to the point of hospitalization. Now I want to show you a really cool little clip. I know I showed you one movie already, but I want to show you this next one. This is from a girl, Liv McNeil. She made this 2 months ago in June. She's a Canadian student who's 15 years old, and she thought to herself, you know, this whole thing with the pandemic happening and the fact that we're going to be doing this remote learning, I could see some people getting very isolated or not really being able to take control of this entire process as it's going on. Now, it is a quiet video, and it's meant to be quiet, but I'm going to play it for you so you could see what it's about. So pretty powerful video. Both of them I felt were the one that was here for the introduction was one we showed to all staff to try and kind of get them into the mindset. A lot's been going on, but it's going to be okay. We're going to be ready. And I invite all of you to make a video like that because it becomes inspirational to people to see that others are feeling the same way. Now, the next one that Liv had done, that's one where are we really thinking of our students and where they're going to be? I know we're all kind of in a tough place trying to figure out what to do from day to day, how to handle this, especially when decisions are changing from day to day as well. But we need to think about the students and where they are. How can we create an environment that they can still learn and still prosper and not suffer any emotional health issues in the long run? So I'm going to jump into a couple lessons right here. So be the best you is the slogan that we came up with at Neuqua Valley, for example. And you're going to have access to all these slides. So you can make a copy and do what you wish. Make your own logo colors, whatever you like to do. But we wanted to use this so that now every month that we introduce new lessons of SEL, the students will see the Be the Best You slogan up there with our Wildcat, which is our mascot. And that will kind of build a brand for us so that they're knowing that they're getting into a social emotional learning lesson when it comes down to it. What we decided as a district was that we were going to do this in our physical education and health classes in every single high school, and it was going to be delivered at least monthly. So every PE and health teacher in District 204 at Mattia High School, Wabansie High School, and Neuqua Valley High School, all the PE and health teachers are delivering at least one lesson a month, and then the rest of the school is reinforcing it. And I'm going to show you how we came up with that idea. So here's the first lesson. I'm just going to go through it rather quickly because, again, you can look through it yourself, but I just want you to kind of get the gist of what was behind it. Now, all these slides that I'm showing you, they do have notes as well. So if you do make a copy of it when you have the link to it, you'll be able to see the notes that I've put in there to see how it could be applied to just a normal classroom, face-to-face, mask-to-mask, however you want to call it right now, or if you're in a remote setting. So I try to make it both so that it'd be useful in both episodes. At first we give a little explanation of what it is. And again, this is a slide we're going to be doing from month to month, trying to encourage students, be mindful, advocate for yourself, deal with stress. These are terms we've actually been using the last couple of years. So they're not new terms to students. They're terms that we keep using and saying that these are skills that you need to develop. And through these lessons, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to build the skills. So time management is the first one. And I felt this was probably one of the most important ones. It's funny because we didn't really look at this at first last year before the pandemic when we were starting to put our calendar together. We have like a 2-year calendar for our district of what we were going to be applying. And we really didn't look at time management until this year was starting. The idea of having to manage your time, we realized was something that was going to be of the utmost importance. And here's why. I taught a blended physical education class to students. And the one thing I realized, a lot of students signed up for it. They were excited to do it. But what I realized was they had a very hard time trying to be out of the usual setting of, I come to your class, you tell me what to do, and I'll do it. Instead, we needed to develop strategies of how to properly manage their time so that their day would be considered successful and not a failure or not knowing what they needed to do for the rest of the day. So some of the slides have some nice little explanations. The question gets drawn up and you could put the students into small groups, into breakout rooms, or into one big group, asking them this question: what methods or strategies do you use to manage your time? And I want you to look at this picture right now. Look at this picture. I'm going to give you about 10 seconds to put it together in your mind. Maybe a little longer than 10 seconds because I might talk a little bit longer than that. But I want you to take all those pieces, put it in your mind, and tell me what it is you've put together. This is an actual thing that's out there, and I was nice enough to at least number the parts so you can try to put all the pieces together, except the literature manual you won't be able to open. But see if you can put that together. If you were able to put it together, this is what you got. 30-inch built-in electric oven, self-cleaning, thermal convection oven. You can actually buy this at IKEA, and those are the IKEA instructions that you would get with it as well. So did you put that together? Did you just put together a box and say, I wonder what that is? Well, why did I do this? So for our lesson, here's where the pieces come together. For students, their day, your day, may look like this as teachers and both students. That picture may be our day. A lot of pieces. We're not sure exactly how they go together, and we're not sure what the end product, the end of the day, is truly going to look like. So we need a better way of managing it so that we could properly put those pieces together. Having scheduling is a big part of that, figuring out what our schedules are. So one of the best ways to do that is with a planner, and suggesting to students, yourselves, have some type of planner. Now, here can be the perfect conversation of, is this a electronic versus paper planner? Which is better when it comes down to it? Well, let's take it further than just simply putting in, this is the class I have, and this is the homework that I was assigned. There's so many different pieces that we can use, whether it be Google Classroom, Google Keep, paper copies of what we're going to write down. There's a time management wheel up there that we've introduced to our students before, trying to manage their time and when they would do things. But when it comes down to it, let's think further than what this is. If you look at the example I put here, the activities are the classes and the things that you would be doing throughout the day. Let's say this is after the school day. You have physics homework, reading chapters 1 through 3, followed by math homework, worksheets 3, 6, English. You're going to work out at some time. You definitely want some screen time. Just hang out and talk to people on your phone or whatever else. You're going to have dinner and you're going to sleep. But let's go past that. What if we started to estimate how much time is everything going to take? So talking to the students in the same way I'm talking to you, try to estimate, how long is that physics homework going to take? How long is that math homework going to take? How long's your workout, dinner? And I mean, you want 8 hours of sleep, obviously. So let's estimate all those pieces of time. And then our next step, when are we going to start these things? Is it going to be like 7:30 p.m. as our start for physics? Well, and then we follow it up with math and then English after that. Our workout, well, I want to do that after school, maybe 3 p.m. and dinner's usually at 6. I'm going to have some screen time, chilling out on the phone or whatever else at those times, and then I'm going to be in bed by midnight. And then now put that schedule together in chronological order. Workout at 3, chilling out at 3:30, eating at 6, chilling out again right afterwards, got to digest, starting my homework, finishing it, watching what's on Netflix, and then in bed. This takes time management to a different level. And if we can teach all of our students to think about time management in a different way, they're going to have a more successful day in the long run. And that's what this next piece is trying to state. Your instruction manual suddenly becomes a better visual image so that you can have a successful day. This last part, this is how we get the rest of our school involved and engaged in our lessons. Our PE and health teachers just delivered the lesson that I did pretty quickly for you. And here's what the rest of the school does. We're asking all of our teachers during the month of September to reinforce time management. And we're saying at the end of the class, just simply say to them, hey, I gave you this homework in science today. I know it's a lot of reading. How long do you think it's going to take you? And let them verbalize that, whether out to you, in groups, whatever it might be, because now that becomes a contract to them. Verbally memorizing how long I think it's going to take. And it might be all over the place. It might be, some people say 30 minutes, others say 60 minutes. For the teacher, that could become eye-opening as well, knowing where their students stand when it comes to reading. And then follow it up with the next question. I know you got a lot on your plate today. When do you think you're going to start your homework tonight? I mean, you're probably going to eat. You probably have homework from other areas. When do you think you're going to start? And again, we're now attaching another piece to that verbal contract so that in their heads, they have an idea, when am I going to start my science homework? And then, how long is it going to take after I do start it? The next lesson I'm going to get into is another one that we're going to be doing in September as well. As you can see, the first 2 slides are the same. And we're going to focus on mindfulness. But we're going to look at mindfulness in a different way. A lot of people, when you say, what's the definition of mindfulness? They go right to yoga, which can be a part of it. Yes, taking deep breaths, knowing where I'm at. But what we really want to do is trying to get students to realize it's a focus of attention when it comes down to it. And that's going to be really important in both a hybrid and a remote learning environment. Here's why. There's lots of distractors that we're going to find within the world that are going to make it so that we cannot be mindful. And so that makes it very, very difficult for us to concentrate on what's going on. So this first activity that we would be asking students to do is just simply getting into small groups, breakout rooms, in a remote environment, but have them all turn off their camera first. Now, that might not be a big deal. For those of you like myself who are in a remote learning environment, a lot of the students are turning off their cameras. Well, now you're going to give them permission. Turn off your camera, go into a breakout room, and there could be 3, 4, 5 people in that breakout room. And when you get to that breakout room, all I want you to do is just talk about a character in a book or a movie or TV show and find how you relate to that character. And then each of you talk. Now, afterwards, you're going to want to follow up and say, how did it feel as you, the speaker, talking to an empty room? It's kind of like this here. I mean, right now, it's just me and Gary who are here right now. I don't really see any of you. So is anyone really listening? Is anyone really there? It feels a little bit empty, and you kind of wonder, well, is this really worth what I have to say? On the other hand, then you go to the students and say, what did you pick up from the person that was talking? And were there things that kept you from talking? Like maybe there was something outside at the same time. Maybe there was something on your desk you were more interested in. Maybe something came up on your phone. Those are distractors. And with those distractors, if we can learn to teach you, let's focus on the distractors and get those out of the way so I could be mindfully where I need to be. If this is the lesson for physical education, then I need to mindfully be here in this lesson and figure out what are my distractors that are going to detract me from actually learning what's happening in the lesson itself. Finally, there's the mindful reinforcement piece. And this, again, is the piece we're going to give out to all of the teachers throughout the school that they're going to reinforce. And we're going to ask them at the beginning of their class period, sometime during the month, just simply say, hey, how can we be mindful in class today? And open that up to a discussion. Only takes a minute or so. And say, how could we be mindful? I'm going to be teaching you about the weather today. And how could we be mindful so that we pick up all the terminology and understand everything that's going to be happening? And then follow up with, well, what are the distractors that might take you off task during this period while I'm teaching you? And now, if you see what we've done, we have reinforced the skill of mindfulness. It's no longer a definition, just simply defining it, doing one lesson and saying we're one and done. It becomes something that the entire school buys into, and now as a result, we're reinforcing the skills of all our students. The next one that I have coming, that I'm not going to go over right now, but it'll be coming soon, you'll be able to see, is building a respectful community. We have these coming out at least monthly, some of them bi-monthly, so you'll be able to share in some of the lessons that we're doing as well. I would still love to hear what it is you're doing so that we can share our ideas when it comes down to it. I do have a website where I am going to be posting everything, and that's right here, sites.google.com. Don't worry, I'm going to put this in the link as well. And in this website, you'll be able to see a lot of the pieces. You could kind of see what I did for the introduction to our August Institute with a slideshow, with the time management lesson, with the NUM video there. And then we have our teachers share lessons. So after the reinforcement piece, we hope that they're sharing some of the things that went really well, some of the things that we need to change. You can access this site as well. You can make copies of any of the things that we put up there, and I hope that they prove helpful to you in the long run. As you can see, here's the next site, the next part of the site, September. It just scrolls right down, and you'll see from month to month how we're doing this. Well, I'm going to let Gary talk a little bit about what he's doing over at Glenbard North, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And Gary, if you want to take over.
Thank you. Okay, good. The screen is there, but I'm going to talk a little bit first, so you don't have to kind of in the background there. My path to mindfulness in our school started a long time ago, but recently went in overdrive, really, because when we left for the school year, our administration told us to prepare for e-learning and possibly for an entire semester. So, you want to put fear into the hearts of your PE teachers, tell them they're going to teach like a classroom teacher for an entire semester, and that's really tough for them, right? And they did a fantastic job in the spring, but it was really difficult. So I had a department meeting with them, and I said, if I could help take some of that load off for you And if I could find or even create a mindfulness curriculum for the semester that would help, would that help them? And they all agreed yes, and had some good buy-in. I kind of went with them and said, okay, I'm going to work on this over the summer. So I said, okay, I need to find someone that could help me create this. And fortunately, my wife has been into mindfulness for several years as a yoga instructor. And she created her own, she's executive director of COSM, which is Coalition of Schools Educating Mindfully. It's a not-for-profit company, and her goal is to help schools put mindfulness into their curriculum. So I had that was great that she could do that, but she's not a curriculum writer. She's not the kind of person that writes a curriculum. She connects people with people who help people to put it into schools. So with her connections, we found someone to help us write a curriculum for us that was catered to 6th grade to about high school age. And that person is Gina Beagle. So before I could do that though, I also, I went through the proper channels. I went to administration. I said, hey, we're thinking about doing a mindfulness focused curriculum in PE. And they were all on board. And I sold it with, look, we spend 6 semesters with kids in physical education, and we work on their physical health. And we talk in our health classes about mental health, but in PE, we don't always back that up. And so in our PE classes, we could take some time out of the semester and focus on mental health and wellness. And everyone in administration agreed, thought it was great. They're helping in as much as they can. So I went out, we searched this, and so we found this book. It's called Taking the Good. And it's written by Gina Beagle, who is a psychotherapist in California. And she has been creating lessons for us now. And the goal is for her to have 32 mindfulness lessons. So in our program, this started with a Glenbard North initiative. And I started sharing over the summer with our other department chairs and our administrator in charge of our group. And she says, well, why can't every school do that? And I said, there's no reason why they can't. It's just a matter of want to do it. So now our entire district, all 4 Glenbard high schools, are also doing the Taking the Good Gina Beagle book mindfulness program. And here's how we run it. We have made a requirement for 1 day a week, they do a mindfulness lesson. And there's 32 lessons. So if you did 1 a week, you would be halfway done with the program. And if you want to do it second semester, you could. If you want to do it twice a week, which you're allowed to, you would have a whole semester of mindfulness-centered lessons for you. In addition to the mindfulness lessons, they have mindful movement lessons. And if you're a yogi, mindfulness movement is yoga without more that's focused on breathing a little bit. So it's yoga light a little bit and a little bit easier for kids sometimes to take in. So I want to show you, maybe I'm not going to show you the lesson, but this is the website that our kids log into. And they just scroll down to lesson number 1. And the lesson number 1, they all have a theme. And the themes are fantastic. This one is mindful eating and taking a mindful bite. I asked Gina to do no longer than a 20-minute video for the kids. She's an expert. She does a great job explaining what they're doing and why they're doing it. So the kids will watch it. And if this is my class, if it's a regular class, I would say we meet for attendance. I send them off. I say, hey, you're going to watch the video on your own. And then I'm going to give you time. Each lesson has a PDF attached to it, and the PDF has an assignment with it that it's mostly reflection that they could do. This first one takes like a week. I modified it to be done right there. Here's lesson number 2. And that's about hobbies, how your hobbies can make you happy, things like that. And it really takes the kids to, hey, if you're not feeling well, do your hobby. That's a good way to go about it. So then she has a reflection here. And so and then every lesson also has an audio of a meditation or something to be mindful of. So that's really the process. So our kids will go through that once a week. And then what I did for my staff is I wanted to make it as simple as I could for them. So I made all the lessons into Schoology for them. So this is lesson number 1. It has the descriptions for them. It has the link and the password for them. And then it goes, I actually attached that for them. So each week, all that teacher has to do is put that into their Schoology class. And then what we ask them to do is actually do the lesson themselves beforehand. It's really hard to do mindfulness and not be a part of it. I don't sell this for Gina Beagle. I needed it, and so I paid her to start it up, but she is selling this. And I put all the links in there. look, I saved a lot of money this year buying basketballs and badminton rackets and things like that because we're not going to be doing a lot of that. So it was $1,000 for an entire school to use this, and that includes parents and teachers and kids. So you can send that link home with them. So it's really a web base where they log in and put the password in, and they're good to go. We've been doing this for 3 weeks now. We're in our third week of school. I have not had a complaint from a teacher yet. They're accepting it. They're doing it. The activities are very centered on kids. I think the group that you have the most trouble with are maybe a junior, senior boys. You know, they're not quite there for some of it. But I haven't heard any complaints from my teachers at all so far. So I have been modifying it. The two classes I teach is an adaptive PE class and a modified class. So a lot of these lessons we'll actually watch together, and I might cut parts out of the video from my adaptive class that's a little bit over their head a little bit. And then we often I don't have them do the PDF assignment. We go into breakout groups with my aides. I have tons of aides, and we have conversations about it in class. So like I said, you can have this any way you want. And I think the best part about this book is the take in the good concept is that we often look at negatives in our life. You know, everything is a negative. It's hot, right? Oh, I gotta go to the grocery store. And her concept is it's taking the good, is you look for what's good in your life. And in her program, it's meant to be in order. So you do the first lesson, it builds on the second and the third and the fourth, and so you don't skip around. So like I said, so far so good. We've had a lot of good success with it. And then we're starting to do the mindful movements too. So that's a 20-minute mindful movement lesson, and every mindful movement lesson has a PDF reflection with it too. So, you know, the hard part being the teacher is in our district, we can't require that their camera be on. So I could have them do yoga, but I don't know they're doing it. But I can make them do a reflection on yoga, and that could be the assignment for the day. So that's where we're kind of putting that PDF assignment in, is that's how you're getting graded for the day, because technically I can't see you doing yoga all the time. So I'm going to stop sharing here for Bill, and we can get back to you. But that's pretty much how we're using it right now. And like I said, it's district-wide. I do know there are other districts in our area using this Take in the Good and Gina Beagle stuff. So I'm open to questions or other comments. So.
All right. Well, thanks, Gary. So there's just some ideas of some of the things that you could be doing in the classroom. As you see, these are easy to access. We're going to have everything that we did down below within the next 24 hours. We're going to put links to a lot of the things that you saw here. Feel free, though, to reach out to us at any time when it comes down to it, to see if you have any questions or ideas that you want to share with us or back with you. Gary, there is one question that somebody does have. It says, do you think it could be modified below 6th grade?
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, you're probably not going to watch the video. It's good. I think the modification would be you're going to be doing probably the teaching. Watch the video and kind of get there, because I think 20 minutes for that is a little much. But definitely the PDFs are fantastic stuff about kind of reflecting on their eating habits or their hobbies and why that makes them happy. The ideas and the concepts, I think you'd run with very easily.
All right. So one thing I got advertising up here, Thursdays are our day at IAFRD where we're doing a lot of sharing. Whether it be these videos, they could be live, they could be pre-recorded, but we also have IAFRD Chat, which will be happening next week, Thursday. Kelly Zerby is going to be our moderator there of the do's and don'ts of teaching remotely. You can see our calendar there. If you want to see this calendar all the time, you can go to iafrd.org. Also, I invite you to iafrd.org. Sign up for a free membership. Just sign up for a membership. It's free. Paid membership, obviously, you'll have more things in there. We have webinars and PDH hours that are coming along that you'll be able to receive by being a paid member, attending conventions and things like that. But if you go in there, you'll be alerted more often and be able to see the things that are in there. There are some videos there that we don't post on the YouTube channel as well. Our next YouTube will actually be, again, by Kelly Zerby, and that's going to be on October 1st. She's putting together a program, Dance, remote or in person, let's shake it. So that'll be our next video on that we'll be doing for YouTube. And please join us on the Twitter chat. It's a great way to just see what people are saying. I go on it all the time, and a lot of times I don't even say anything. I just like to see what people are saying, because it's just one of those things you could have up there and you can see how the conversation is going, and it's a really good place to find a lot of good ideas. Well, thank you all for tuning in to this other live broadcast. We hope to keep doing them to help you. Give us ideas. Email us or let us know what it is we could do and what we could do better. Have a good evening, everybody. Happy new school year. All right.